Hi folks, Mr. Long here. We're going to do some more work with derivatives without algebra. This is using tables of values only. Now, what you should do right now is hopefully you've printed out that first page and you're filling in the examples. I'm not going to be showing that table or the graph right now as I do this. You're just going to have to take my word for it that I've got them correct. So let's go through this. So we're going to be working with the quotient rule on these two examples. And remember that it's top divided by bottom. And our derivative rule is top prime bottom minus top bottom prime divided by the bottom squared. Okay, and when it means top, really what it means is the y value of the top. In this case, the derivative of the top, so the y value. So what we're going to do is we're going to assume that we've got a function that's f divided by g. So that's referring to that table that I used in the product rule questions. So f divided by g, and we're going to determine, that's what y is, and we're going to get y prime at 1. So as we develop our formula, we know we're going to get, so we're going to start with the top is f, the bottom is g. You know what I should be doing is, why don't I label that? So f is the top, and g is the bottom. So as we go through and do this, top prime is going to be f prime. So there's top prime, f prime at 1. There's bottom rather, g. So top prime bottom minus, and then what should be next is top, which is f, multiplied by bottom prime, which is g prime. G is the bottom. Okay, g prime. So, and if we look, the bottom squared is going to be g at 1 squared because we're trying to get the tangent slope when x equals 1. Okay, so now we need to start substituting these values in. So again, I'd look at x equals 1 in that chart and go down until I get f prime. The slope at x equals 1 of f is 1. Then I have to get the y value of g when x equals 1, and that's worth 9. Now I have to subtract because it's the quotient rule. F at 1, so I look that up on the table to get 3. I look up g prime at 1 to get 5. Okay, and then I divide it by g at 1 squared. So g at 1 we know is 9, so I still put the 9 there and I square it. Now I just simplify. 1 times 9 is 9, 3 times 9 is 15. 1 times 9 is 9, 3 times 5 is 15. I wouldn't do 9 times 15. I'd do 15 minus 9. That's 6. But I know the answer is going to be negative. So it's 6, negative 6 divided by 9 squared, which is 81. Now there's something, and that reduces to negative 2/27. But you know, there's something I probably could have done here in a smarter way. I could have done negative 6 divided by 9 times by 9. And then, if I look at this, what is that worth? Negative 6 over 9, what does that reduce to? That's right, it reduces to 2/3. So it would have been negative 2/3 multiplied by the equivalent of 1 over 9, right? Because we still had that 9 left on the bottom. And that would give us our negative 2/27. Okay, and that's the kind of thing you may see on the AP exam where they want you to simplify a fraction. I don't know if it'd be quite that big of numbers, but it might be. Okay, it might be. And although this year's or the 2020 version is online, so actually you won't have to worry about that at all. But certainly something in university you would have to worry about. Okay, so we're going to do another one now. We're going to do g divided by h. Remember, g is a values you get out of the table, and h you get off that graph. So h is the bottom. And we want to get the tangent slope when x equals 5. Okay, so here we go. So top prime to begin with. Top is g. So g prime at 5. Then it multiplies by the bottom. The bottom is h. So that should be h of 5. Then I've got my minus sign. then it's top, bottom, prime. So the top is g at 5. And then the bottom is primed, so h prime at 5, all divided by h of 5 squared. Okay. Now what I do is I go to my table and I go to x equals 5 and I go down until I see the row for g prime and it's worth 3. Now I have to go to the graph and I have to go to h at 5. Okay, h at 5. So the x value is 5. What's the y value there? It's 9. It's in that flat part of the curve, if you remember. That graph looked like something like that. And then it went like so. And then it had a much gradual slope coming down the other side. Something like that, right? So the y value up here was 9. Okay, so let's finish going through these. Whoops. So minus, and then it's going to be g at 5. We take that off the table, and that's actually worth 5. Then we do h prime at 5. So h prime at 5 is, the x value of 5 is right here. Right, that's the x value of 5 there. So it's right there at this location here. So the slope there is 0. Okay, there's no rise. Okay, so we look at this, and again, it's 5 times 0, that's 0, so 3 times 9 over 9 squared. And again, what I would encourage you to do here is 3 times by 9 divided by 9 squared. Well, how do you do that? Well, the 9 and one of those 9s are gone, so you're left with 3 divided by 9, which is equivalent of 1/3. Okay, folks, so that's how you go through the quotient rule when you're doing algebra, derivatives without algebra.